Yeah.
What were some of the things that you started to pick up? Because even those first 3 seconds of like phone dialing is tough.
It's super tough. It's like a knife fight. The biggest thing is tonality. So if I was to cold call you, another thing a lot of salespeople do is they'd be like, hey, Matthew, this is Shariff. I'm calling from XYZ Realty. How are you? And it's like, you already know it's a sales call.
Right.
But what I change in my tonality is answering the call like, hey, is this Matt? And you're almost like, wait, is this a friend? Like, they're using my like nickname. The tonality sounds like, you know, maybe we spoke before, and you're like, yeah, who's this? And then that's when I go to, hey, you know, I'm Shariff calling from this company. I know I'm calling you out the blue. Can I maybe steal 30 seconds and explain why I'm calling? And that is when you say like maybe still 30 seconds is that like a fair enough, like you're kind of like leading type of tonality where it's like, does that sound fair? And you're almost making them in a sense, it's like, you're crazy if you don't say that's fair. Like just 30 seconds. So it's so much in like tonality. That was the biggest thing I had to learn.
Yeah.
Because I was pretty monotone when I first started calling, and people can tell. They can tell if you're smiling. They can just feel your energy over the phone. So yeah, that tonality and even like standing up while I'm calling was a big hack too.
Right.
When I first started, for sure.
So you're on the phone with these people, you nail the tonality, and you get like 30 seconds into the call, right?
Right.
And then you're able to do that more and more and more. Like you're getting more people across the 30-second mark. What other tips are you picking up to get people like 1 minute into the call, 2 minutes into the call?
I would say the biggest tip is the looping when you're handling the objections. So in the straight line selling method that Jordan Belfort details, you have a set of questions that are all going to line them up to your like pitch or your value proposition, and pretty much you're isolating the objection. So for an example, in the real estate, objection we always would get is like, hey, you know, everything sounds good, but I need to ask my wife about it.
Sure.
So what I would do and then say is like, oh, well, I see your home's listed for $250,000. If I brought you a big bag of cash in a briefcase for $275,000 today, would you take that and would you pick it up off the ground, or would you still ask your wife if you could? And they're always like, oh, no, I'd take it. So I was like, well, shoot, it's not really about the cash, but it's you don't want to sell your home for a great big discount. That being said, let's just set up a quick 15-minute meeting. I'll come over, walk you through our 151-step marketing process, and show you how we can actually secure you $275,000 in 30 days.
Right.
And it's like you literally took their objection and you just isolated with some, you know, made up example to show them that, hey, that's not really a real objection. We're not asking to swipe your card or anything.
Yeah.
So
I'm not a sales guy, so I'm not like up to speed with like all of your lingo or anything like that.
Yeah.
But those objections, they're not even real. They're just like things that we throw out.
Yeah.
Why do we do that as humans, do you think?
I think because no one really wants to be sold.
Right.
We want to feel like we're making the decision, and we want to feel like we're doing research, and we also don't want to be pressured into something. So it's like anything we can use to just give ourselves some more time to where we don't have to commit to anything, and then it's on us if we made the bad decision. So being able to make that decision but not have like any accountability or like any like real anything holding you to it is what people really try and avoid. It's like they don't want to get like locked into a contract off the first phone call. Right. Which that's something we use as well. It's like, hey, you know, I'll show up. If you don't like the tie I have on, you can kick me out. You know, we're not taking payment or we're not selling your house today. I just want to see if it makes sense for us to work together.
I was on actually someone's Skool About page literally maybe 4 days ago. I've no idea who the quote's accredited to, but the quote was something like, the expert salesperson moves the prospect along the whole process without them ever even feel like they're being sold.
Yeah.
I was like, yo.
100%.
That's true.
100%.
Because even the pen example, it becomes less about Shariff trying to sell Matthew a pen, and it's more about Matthew getting that feeling back.
Yeah, 100%.
It's crazy.
You buy off it. You're not like, if you were just going to buy a pen, you could find a pen anywhere, but it's more so like, how does that pen make you feel? You're kind of selling like, you're not selling the plane ticket, you're selling the vacation,
right?
Which is just the feeling of it.
So if you look back across your 5,000 sales calls plus,
yeah,
what was the one thing that you did for a long time that you wish you had stopped sooner?
Oh, definitely either double asking questions and over talking. So I now write on all my sales scripts it's like in capital bold letters. If I ever say a price, it says shut up in like capital letters. So it's like, just say the price and be quiet. And a lot of times, if you're new to selling, and it may just be human nature, you kind of trying to avoid that like awkward silence or that awkwardness. But it's like, if I say the price is, $9.97, and then we just sit, like you gotta think about it. You're like, whoa, like, I mean, like it puts you in a different like frame of mind where now you're going through all the possible objections that you can. And if not, like say I was to say the price and then I start talking about, oh, but we have different payment options or payment plans. It's like, you don't even really get to fully make that decision yet. So that would be the biggest thing of like, be quiet whenever you say a price. And then also sometimes people will ask double questions. So if we go back to the pen example, when I asked, how long have you been in the market for a new pen? Some sales reps, like they'll keep talking like, is this the first pen you've bought? Is this XYZ? And it's like, you didn't even answer the first question. Like, just be quiet. Let the other person talk.
Yes. And with the pen example as well, you were just asking questions the whole time.
Yeah.
It was me doing all the talking.
Yeah, exactly. That's sales, for real.
So how does that transfer into the world of like remote sales calls with Zoom? Yeah. Because that's where a lot of us are selling these days.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's very similar. One, because I think on Zoom, I do like it a little bit more, being that you can actually have them like face to face. And the tough part of like selling just over the phone is if you wanted to collect payment or you really want to set up a meeting, the hardest objection to overcome is like, oh, I'm driving.
Right.
It's like, well, what do? You don't want to tell them like, oh, can you just check your calendar? It's like, or it's like, can you just pull your card out or pull over?
Yeah.
So when you're having a sales call on Zoom, they're at a desk, they're in an office, and it's really no other objection to like, if everything makes sense on this call, I just need a definitive yes or no. And by the end of the call, we'll decide if it makes sense to move forward.
Right. So that's the advantage.
Yeah, it's a major advantage. Yeah. Like when I first started taking sales calls, high ticket, and it was like over Zoom, if they didn't join with their camera on and like they weren't in a set spot, if they were on the like car, I would just reschedule it.
Because they're not in a place.
Yeah, they're not in a decision
where they can take action.
They can't make a decision in that mindset. You're trying to decide if the light's green or yellow or if you're turning right or left.
Right.
And here for me, like telling you about the offer, it just doesn't make sense.